My life be like, yeah. My life be like, yeah.
Based out of Charlotte, North Carolina, NASCAR, the National Association for Stock Car Auto Racing, is an American family-owned and operated business venture that sanctions and governs multiple auto racing sports events. Bill France Sr. founded this company in 1948, and his grandson Brian France became its CEO in 2003. The three largest racing series sanctioned by this company are the Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series, the NASCAR Xfinity Series, and the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series. In the past few years, NASCAR races have seen a surprisingly lower and lower attendance of each race. The biggest reason I see this drop happening is due to the amount of drivers who have been retiring in the past few years. This has particularly made a larger number of older fans grow out of the sport as their favorite driver has come and gone. However, this opens up a new opportunity for millennials that I think could be taken advantage of in 2018. So to move on, here's 10 reasons why I think NASCAR can make a rise in popularity in millennials in 2018. Number 1. The party atmosphere. If you've never been to a NASCAR race, then there's no way you can possibly be able to even imagine the party spectacle that this sport is. From the moment you get to the parking lot, you immediately enter a wide variety of different tailgates, concerts, and all kinds of activities going on outside of the racetrack. You'll find anything from the best pit masters doing barbecue competitions to great parties associated with beer brands such as Miller Lite, Jack Daniels, etc., etc. If there's anything about millennials, more or less college students, they love parties. Believe me, I know. I used to live directly across from the party house at the University of Tennessee. Yes, that party house. Number 2, social media outreach. In case you've been living under a rock, social media has been the way to connect with your fans, and NASCAR has especially taken up with the Twitter brand. Drivers such as Landon Castle, Matt DiBenedetto, and others who don't necessarily get seen a lot on TV have made Twitter their best friends when it comes to finding a way to reach out and connect with their fans. One driver who became a personal fan to everybody, even if they weren't necessarily a fan from on the track, was Dale Earnhardt Jr. The driver initially made his debut on Twitter in 2014, right after winning his second Daytona 500. Dale Jr. was well spoken for saying that he would never be on social media. Well, that was a lie, Dale, and it looks like you personally loved it. Dale Jr. has always been kind of a jokester when it comes to his Twitter account. He's never really been afraid to say whatever he wants, and Twitter just gave him another way to be that same way. He's even went as far as telling some of his haters that he doesn't really care what they have to say about him. But NASCAR and Twitter wasn't necessarily as big as it is today a long time ago. I say a long time ago, and I mean only 5 years ago. During the 2012 Daytona 500, which had already been delayed to the next night due to rain and was raced on a Monday night, an incident where Juan Pablo Montoya crashed into a jet dryer, causing a lengthy red flag due to a fire, in which almost gave Dave Blaney a Daytona 500 victory. Brad Keselowski set Twitter on fire. No pun intended. He gained 100,000 followers in one night and set the NASCAR world off into the Twitter universe. The rest is history. Number 3, stage racing, and how they have made consistency matter in NASCAR. The 2017 season, no doubt about it, was dominated by Martin Truex Jr. and the number 78 team. Drivers commonly in their helmets heard, "Stage winner, 78." That became the norm because they made sure they went out and consistently ran the best in every part of the race. That is what stage racing created. The point of stages is to reward drivers for their consistent performance throughout the entire race, not just at the end. Although it is important to finish up ahead, you want to also be rewarded for when you're running up front. Say you've got a driver who has led about the entire race. Well, something happens that he gets a flat tire, few laps to go. Oh well, it sucks. It's like it wasn't even a good day for them. And that's something that stage racing helped get rid of. In addition to this, drivers are given so many more points when they do well in these stages. Truex accumulated an additional 438 stage points to contribute to his success in the playoffs. That's 67 more than Kyle Larson's 371 stage points. Keep this in mind, these two had the equal amount of wins during the regular season, but Martin Truex Jr. was consistently up front during the stages, so that helped him a lot more going into the playoffs. Ultimately, even if Truex hadn't had his extra wins during the playoffs, I feel like Martin Truex had every capacity to get to Homestead just based on his extra points from those stage victories. Number 4, this playoff system currently actually kind of makes some sense. It's pretty simple, really. You win, and you're in. All the winners get an automatic bye into the playoffs. It starts off with 16 members, and then, after 3 races, 4 of those members are cut. Then we have a round of 12. Again, we repeat the process. We race 3 races, and then we cut 4 more. And there's 4 races to go, and we have only 8 drivers left. And again, I'd like to continue saying that you win and you're in system, it's been applying this entire time into the playoffs. If you're in the playoffs and you get a victory, you automatically go on to the next round. Finally, after those next 3 races, we have only 4 drivers who are eligible for the championship. The championship race is always raced at Homestead Miami Speedway in Miami, Florida. All 3 of NASCAR's top touring series have their championship races at Homestead Miami Speedway on the same weekend. It's pretty simple. If you're in that 4 and you win the race, you're the champion. Kind of like the Super Bowl in a way. You work really hard to get there, and then if you win the whole thing, you're the champion. Although some could argue it's not like the past few years where you did get rewarded for that whole year of work. Ultimately, if you're that passionate and strong and you want to win it, you'll be like Martin Truex and go out and get the job done, like he did in 2017. And if you ask me, I say this playoff system works. Unlike a certain collegiate football playoff system. That's all. Number 5, the drivers' kids, they're awesome. This one might be more for the women NASCAR fans, but let's all face it, these drivers' kids today are flat out awesome. Being fans of drivers and their children is nothing unfamiliar to the sport already though. For years, people loved watching Dale Earnhardt Jr. hanging out in the garage area with his father and the entire number 3 team. And many remember Chase Elliott being around his famous father Bill Elliott as well. Today, we are already witnessing the next generation of NASCAR in the garage with their fathers and their mothers, hanging out, being part of the team. In the future, these will be the ones that will carry the sport. And you can definitely tell that the drivers encourage their children to go in whatever route they want to, but they're probably definitely open to them being around race cars, because if you look at drivers' kids like Keelan Harvick and Owen Larson, they're simply adorable and they're always there at the track with their dads. And speaking of racing fathers, well, we just recently found out there's going to be another one next year. That's right. Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Amy Earnhardt announced that they are expecting a baby girl in 2018. Dale and Amy, I wish you all the best of luck in parenthood. I can't wait to see what baby Earnhardt turns out to be. Number 6, younger drivers are easier for us to relate to. One of these new drivers today is Darrell Wallace Jr. Fans know him better as Bubba Wallace though. Overall, Bubba seems to be an awesome person in general, and he seems to really care and love the job he does and love the fans that he does it for. Outside of the track, Bubba seems like he really enjoys music and playing his drums, as he's posted several videos on his social media. If you haven't had a chance to go see that, I recommend it. He's not too bad. Bubba's also one of the few NASCAR drivers out there who has been in a movie, technically. Bubba Wheelhouse from Cars 3, that was him. And since he's already famous in a movie, he might as well drive a famous car. In 2018, he's driving the number 43 Chevrolet Camaro for Richard Petty Motorsports. I definitely think he's a good candidate for that position. He's already had 6 career victories in the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series. Another one of these great rising stars is Ryan Blaney, son of former driver Dave Blaney. Blaney started his racing career with Tommy Baldwin Racing. As his father was already employed by this company, it served as a perfect opportunity to get him some more racing experience and climb his ranks up the ladder. Ultimately, he got spotted in this role by Brad Keselowski and was given the opportunity to race for Brad Keselowski Racing in the number 29 Dodge truck. Ultimately, because of the relationship between Brad Keselowski and Roger Penske, it was no surprise when fans started to see Ryan Blaney in the number 22 car in the Nationwide Series and the Xfinity Series. Ultimately, this gave Ryan Blaney the opportunity to start his Cup Series career with the Wood Brothers Racing Team number 21, where he captured his first career victory in June of 2017 at Pocono Raceway, just barely out-racing Kevin Harvick to his first career win. On top of those two, you have the entirety of Hendrick Motorsports now. In 2017, Hendrick Motorsports featured the lineup of 7-time champion Jimmy Johnson, Dale Earnhardt Jr., a 2-time Daytona 500 winner, Kasey Kahne, and Chase Elliott, who was just in his second career season after taking over the number 24 car for Jeff Gordon. Next year, this team will be even newer. The number 5 car of Kasey Kahne, it has went away, and Kasey Kahne has moved on to a new team. Dale Earnhardt Jr., he has officially retired from full-time racing in the Cup Series. Chase Elliott has decided to give up the number 24 because he wants to take on the number 9 car, the number that was made famous by his father using it. So, this has opened up some new opportunities. With Jimmy Johnson sticking to the number 48, everything else at Hendrick Motorsports is going to look entirely different in 2018. Alex Bowman, age 24, he's going to be taking over the number 88 car. I feel as though he's earned this ride. His 2016 performance at Phoenix ultimately showed that if he's given the right opportunity, he can go out and be a race-winning car. It unfortunately didn't work out that he won that race, but fans knew that after that day, he was serious. And Alex also picked up his first career Xfinity Series victory when he stepped into the number 42 car at Charlotte Motor Speedway in the fall of 2017. This was his first time back in the car since the 2017 Clash at Daytona. As I mentioned, Chase Elliott. He's age 22. He's already got an extensive background on him that's already earned himself the role he's in today. Next year, he will be in a number 9 Napa Chevrolet Camaro. He is the 2014 Nationwide Series champion. He holds 5 Xfinity Series wins, and he has 22 Cup top 5. Although he hasn't yet reached victory lane, he's had many chances where fans thought he was just about to. I myself was at the 2017 Martinsville Fall race, and I thought for sure he was about to win that race before an incident with Denny Hamlin took him out. And finally, you have the youngest one, William Byron. William is in some big shoes. He's taking over the number 24 car, a number made famous by Jeff Gordon. And get this, he's only 20 years old. He got his start racing on the popular NASCAR sim, iRacing. That's where he learned all about the lines and moves he had to make on the track. And ultimately, I believe it's paid off. He's the 2017 Xfinity Series champion. He holds 7 Truck Series victories, 4 Xfinity Series victories, all in 2 years while he's been in college pursuing a bachelor's degree in business at Liberty University. Oh, and by the way, they just so happen to sponsor him, so I guess it all kind of works out, doesn't it? Number 7. The tickets for NASCAR races are actually very cheap for college students. Yeah, that's right. Call your local track and ask them about their college program. Chances are they have one. Martinsville Speedway, for example, they give college students 25% off. Bristol Motor Speedway, they give $50 to $60 weekend packages. That includes the Xfinity and the Cup Series races. Atlanta Motor Speedway, they offer tickets between $19 to $29 depending on where a college student wants to sit for their Sunday spring race. And on top of all this, Talladega Superspeedway has partnered up with Chase University. This program offers students a way to enjoy all of the college area and tailgate with free parking for just $24. Talladega is considered one of the biggest college party tracks on the NASCAR circuit, so it only seemed like a good idea for them to partner up for a program such as this. Number 8. The merchandise of NASCAR is completely amazing and so diverse in what you can get. Anything from t-shirts to die-cast replicas of cars can be found online and at the races for almost any of the drivers in the sport, making this sport completely friendly to collect and remember all of your favorite moments of the sport. In addition to this, video gamers, well, they make NASCAR video games, and they've actually been improving. NASCAR Heat 2 is the current rendition of a NASCAR licensed video game. Although there are other games who do feature NASCAR, such as Forza Motorsports and iRacing simulations, the NASCAR Heat series is the officially licensed video game by NASCAR. It is the second game in the series after NASCAR Heat Evolution, who many fans really did not enjoy. However, NASCAR Heat 2 was a big improvement compared to the first version. In addition to this, they partnered up with Speedway Motorsports Incorporated to give all fans who bought this game a $50 coupon to go towards tickets at one of their races. So you remember earlier how I said the cheap tickets at Atlanta and Bristol? Well, if you've got a $50 coupon, you've got a lot of it paid off there. Number 9. The TV broadcasts are actually becoming a little bit more entertaining. The past 2 seasons, the Fox Sports commentary team, for their rendition of NASCAR throughout the year, has featured great color commentators such as Jeff Gordon and Darrell Waltrip. These 2 veterans of the sport offered a perfect perspective from a former driver who can tell you exactly what these drivers are facing whenever they're out in the race. NBC Sports has also announced their lineup for next year. It just so happens to be a pair of people in the booth who have worked together in the past. Dale Earnhardt Jr. will join the team along with his former crew chief Steve Letarte. Those 2 combined gave that number 88 car their best season in 2014, where they scored 4 wins including the Daytona 500. Having great color commentators like this will certainly add to the perspective from a fan watching it on TV. It'll make it fun, entertaining, and an excellent program. And number 10, if millennials would just go to a race in person, there is a good chance that they will enjoy the experience and have a better understanding that it is a business powered by science, engineering, and teamwork. They may even get hooked on it. How do I know this? It happened to me and my fiance. She used to think the same thing that a lot of people would say NASCAR is, even though some of these people have never really watched it in their entire life. You know the whole perspective. They think it's just a bunch of rednecks going in a circle for 4 hours and being drunk. No, it's far from that, my friends. After I took her to her first race, well, she was hooked. She just couldn't stop watching it. She became a fan just as hard as I did. In fact, we even got engaged at a race. So you never know. Going to a NASCAR race might just be the best thing you could possibly do for you. And that's my reasons why I think NASCAR will become more popular with millennials in 2018. Do you have any other thoughts on why millennials can enjoy NASCAR? Or would you just like to tell me to shut up and stop liking a sport that's been around for years? If so, leave a comment down below, and don't forget to subscribe and like the video if you enjoyed it. Share with your friends, and let's see more millennials at the track in 2018.